Hello, Gemini, and welcome to your September 2025 tarot card reading. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Jane, and I'm so happy to have you here. Let's go ahead and get started with your tarot message. So, Gemini, what is it you need to know for September 2025? Alrighty. It does feel like there's progress in the next couple of weeks for you. So whatever your main focus is right now, there is going to be, some signs that it's getting to the point of completion anyway. Maybe not all the way there, but I think you'll be happy with the progress over the next couple of weeks. The Five of Wands, though, does suggest a bit of conflict or competition, arguments, a conflict of interest, conflict of personalities. It's not that big a deal. I think usually with the Five of Wands, it's very in and out. It's just like a moment that you hit where things kind of just doesn't work very well and kind of goes in a lot of different directions, and then it does seem to even out with that Eight of Wands. This is a card, though, that I think really it forces us to solidify what we want, to commit even harder to what we want. Because when we have adversarial forces, when we have conflict, when we have to deal with other people, what it does is it forces us to say, no, this is really what I want. No, this is definitely the direction that I'm going. And I think that though this is maybe a bit inconvenient, perhaps a bit annoying, perhaps, unwanted to a degree, I think when you are in the midst of this moment, you will really look at it and say, yeah, but what it's doing is it's motivating me to really get things going. It's motivating me to start building that momentum even more than I already have, because I suspect you already have a significant degree of momentum, and this is just going to, again, amplify it, solidify it, validate it, and it straightens out very quickly. Now, astrologically, we have a lot going on. So I know I'm a bit late in posting all of these, but as of August 31st, okay, we had Pluto moving out of bounds, which is a very rare transit. The last time this happened was 1938. And when Pluto moves out of bounds, it really gives us a pure expression of Pluto. And he's going to be quite loud, and I think the Plutonic themes, the Plutonic energies are going to be prominent in our lives, right? Where it's about elimination, it's about obsession, it's about focus, it's about transformation, transmutation. It's a deeply alchemical planet. Baptism, it's like a baptismal kind of nature. It's cleansing, but it's more cleansing through fire, right? So it's not like an easy breezy in and out cleansing. It's like full destruction kind of cleansing. But there's a resurrection component there too. All right, so being an Aquarius too, it's definitely revolutionary. So all these themes are coming out. They're starting to really show up for us. Plus we had Saturn move back into Pisces on the 1st. As of tomorrow, the 6th, we have Uranus stationing retrograde in your sign, Gemini. And then the 7th, the very next day, we have a very prominently placed 10th house for you, Gemini, full moon eclipse, which is very strong in Pisces on the 7th. So the whole first week, I think, is going to be more of this Five of Wands energy. But again, it's meant to solidify and validate that the path that you're already on is actually a good one. And it's going to propel you into this Queen of Swords place. Now, the Queen of Swords is very cool, calm, collected. And she extracts herself from the movement of life, right? She sort of rises above the current and watches and analyzes and looks and makes decisions based on the information that she gathers. It's kind of like standing on a bridge and watching the water flow underneath. But from that higher perspective, you can see a clearer picture of what's going on, and you can decide, okay, well, this is what we need to do, or I need to do that other thing instead. And there might be a pivot that happens here with the Queen of Swords. So maybe the original path that you were on, I'm not saying it's a full detour, but maybe there are adjustments that need to be made. We need to keep in mind that Mars is also still in Libra this month. And as of last month through August and now September, it's like adjustment city, right? It's all about making adjustments. It's all about adjusting our perspective or adjusting our environment, adjusting our path, adjusting our mindset, whatever it is that needs adjusting, this is the time to do it. And the Queen of Swords is okay with that, but she's also very decisive. And sometimes she can take her time making decisions, but when she does make a decision, she is all in with full clarity. And she won't make a decision until she has that full clarity. So it might feel like there's a bit of push-pull. As much as we love the Eight of Wands and it suggests that, yes, things are moving forward, this right here says, yeah, but there's probably going to be something that comes through that you have to really sit and think about. And you have to wait until you have this kind of brilliant aha moment where the clarity is palpable, where you cannot deny the path that needs to be taken. Because you fought for something here, right? You put energy into this. You dedicated yourself to this, but you also want to make sure you do it right because you don't want to fight to get yourself into a mess, right? So this is really strategic. And right now with Uranus stationing retrograde in your sign, I think that Uranian energy goes inward a little bit. And instead of looking for alternate pathways in the external world, it starts looking for things on the inside that can help you achieve your goal. Certain characteristics, certain personality traits, certain ideas, certain innovations, right? Because remember, Uranus in Gemini is imaginative, innovative, inventive. He's very out of the box. And because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, literally the messenger, I suspect that you have been receiving a lot of messages lately. And now it's time for Gemini to start acting on some of those things. Okay? So there does seem to be a lot of clarity, or that's what you're waiting for, and that's okay. I don't think you'll be waiting all that long for the clarity that you need. I don't think you have to move forward in so much faith, even though I think that's a big theme of the full moon in Pisces. I just don't know that everyone has to do that. And Gemini, I don't think you're one of the ones that has to do that. I think you can operate with certainty. And like I said, you're going to start to see progress. You're going to start to see evidence that what you're doing is starting to unfold the way you need it to. And this is the evidence right here. This is the Ace of Coins. It's an opportunity. It's an offering. Now, this is not the biggest thing in the world. Usually an Ace of Coins is just a little seedling, but it's a seedling that feels anchored, right? So it's like when you're, I can't even come up with an analogy, but you've kind of been in this directional, like this path here, you're kind of moving forward. And it's almost as though you were kind of waiting to come across this next stepping stone that again confirmed to you that yes, this is the right path. This is that stepping stone you were waiting for. And this might be a little bit of a resting point, okay, where you have to kind of push a little bit forward here, especially with that Eight of Wands. You have to fight a little bit in the beginning. But once you hit this, you can say, okay, this is working and I don't need to feel any kind of stress or strain. Because sometimes when we have to fight for something, it's almost feels like we have to convince ourselves. You're not really convincing anyone else, but you're trying to convince yourself. And I think this is the moment where you no longer have to convince yourself because, again, you have that certainty and you have that knowing. And I think the clarity and the opportunity, right? The Ace of Swords and the Ace of Coins, clearly these come hand in hand. They come in around the same time. So the clarity and the opportunities, they're both being delivered almost simultaneously, okay? Or within a few days of one another. So what else? What else, Gemini, do you need to know for the month of September as we move forward? Okay. So as we're finishing Virgo season through the middle part of September, you go in hermit mode a little bit. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to fully isolate or hide away from the world, although maybe some of you will or you might. But I think for the most part, it's just you're going to have a moment like this where you just are deeply inward. And again, remember, Uranus is retrograde in your sign. So that Uranian energy goes from an external thing into a more internalized thing. And it feels like there's probably this feels really stormy to me. Okay, it does not feel calm and peaceful the way I would normally feel this card. It feels highly active. It's just so inside yourself that no one can really perceive it from the outside looking in. But you know what's happening, and I think you've got a lot of questions. I think you've got a lot of philosophy going on, like you're thinking about things in a really big way. It's a very big picture. I don't know that this is about clarity so much. I think you've already kind of hit that clarity point with the Queen of Swords, Ace of Swords. So this is not about trying to find clarity. I think you already have it. But I think there's kind of a coming into wisdom moment. And perhaps maybe this whole process right here teaches you something about magic or teaches you something about manifestation or law of attraction. And this is you kind of absorbing that information and converting it into true wisdom. And it feels like it's sinking in so deeply that this is going to be a process that you can repeat over and over and over, because it's a very short path from Five of Wands to the Ace of Coins. And of course, the Ace of Coins is that offering. It's like, yep, this is working. Here's the evidence, right? It's a very short run. I'm not saying you haven't manifested anything quickly in the past. I'm sure you have, but maybe you haven't necessarily done it so consciously. And I think this is a moment where you were fully aware of what was happening the whole time. And that's going to be something that is repeatable in the future. You will be able to manifest in this way again. And I love the Hermit with the Hierophant, because the Hierophant, this is wisdom here, but this is like a sense of divinity. I often feel like this is the string that connects your higher self and your lower self here. It's the pathway that communicates. It's the channel. And when we are deeply connected to this channel, it does feel like anything is possible. There is no doubt. There is no question of deserving. There is no lack of worthiness. There is no fear, because you're so grounded and rooted in your divinity. And again, this whole storyline in the beginning feels like proof of your divinity, proof of your magical abilities. And honestly, I didn't even see the magic. I mean, I kind of saw the underlying tone of it, but like this wasn't really about being a magical being. But now this second row comes out and it's like, no, this is very much about magic. And actually, this is a really magical month, right? We've got Pisces and Virgo activated in the chart with eclipses. So yeah, it is going to be a magical month. So this is a lesson in magic, a lesson in manifestation, a lesson in divinity. And I think by the end of this month, you will see yourself differently. At least I hope so. I hope you'll see yourself differently. I hope you'll see yourself as someone who really doesn't have to wait on the world, that you can bend and twist reality to your liking at any moment. And I think that's what's happening here. We have the Queen of Cups. Now, this card comes out around the time of the new moon eclipse in Virgo, which is at 29 degrees of Virgo on the 21st of September. So like the very last day of Virgo season. And this feels incredibly soft And I think that new moon, while still an eclipse, it's not nearly as intense as the full moon on the 7th, but it feels, again, intuitively like you understand that you are the keeper of the Holy Grail. And I always see the Holy Grail energy with her cup here because it's the fanciest cup. And it looks like a Holy Grail. It looks like some type of relic, like a holy relic, you know. And you are the keeper. You are the holder of that. Again, it's magic, but it's more just the sense of divinity. It's more sense of the divine power, more sense of the creative power. And what I love about this story is that I don't think Gemini feels victimized or oppressed by anything that's going on in the world, or by anyone or any situation, or, you know, whether it's a relationship, whether it's money issues or being looked over for a promotion. Like, this isn't about being a victim of unfairness. Right? And I think this is a moment where, if you had ever felt anything like that in the past, I just think that sheds. And I think it feels empowering. And that's definitely worth something, that empowerment, because as we move into Libra season for the last part of September, things change. And I think Virgo season changes you. You know, and when we have 4th house activity, you know, we've got Mercury in the 4th house for the first part of it. We've got the Sun in the 4th house for the first part of it. So 4th house is a deep house, and there is a lot of healing that happens here. There's a lot of illumination of blockages and things like that. Now, it's not about focusing on the blocks, actually. In fact, quite the opposite. I think there's zero focus on the blocks, and that's why you are seeing such movement. It's why you are seeing this change and this leap here. It feels free to me, like you have the option. Now, you could get all wrapped up in this, and there could be some Geminis that cannot get out of this all month. And they won't experience this, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, Jane, you're so wrong. That's not how my life manifested at all. It's not what happened at all. I'm here. I'm in this chaos. I'm in this chaos." Yeah, you're in that chaos because you haven't truly solidified and declared what you want. And you haven't made effort to move in that direction. So of course you're going to still be in the 5 of Wands. Of course you're going to still be in the chaos, because you haven't. It's not that you are going to get hit with a bolt of lightning. It's that you have to cast the bolt of lightning. That's the 8 of Wands, right? You have to throw the bolt of lightning. You have to cut yourself off from the 5 of Wands, and you have to say, nope, this is what's happening. And you have to take that power back. Again, it does not have to be all that fast, keeping in mind that there does seem to be a moment where you pause to analyze and look things over to attain that clarity. But here, you realize upon Libra season that Virgo season changed you, and that you have become a different person. And I think the Hermit and the Death card go beautifully together as well, because it does feel on the inside. Again, Uranus retrograde. It's an internal revolution. And of course, Pluto out of bounds in Aquarius. Yes, there is massive revolution happening for you. And I think Libra season leads you into an even more beautiful season, a season of a soft heart, a season of beauty, a season of symmetry, a season of balance. And I think you will really, really appreciate what Libra season has to offer. I think there's a lot of work to do. Of course, Mars will move into your 6th house in Scorpio in rulership. So there's a lot to do, a lot task-wise. But I think your heart is it's just so pure. You know, there's no incoherence. There's no confusion. I just don't see Gemini being confused. You know, if you have a vision and you cast that bolt of lightning, there is no chance you will be confused. There's no chance. There's no room for confusion here. And when you're not confused, that is when you see progress. Okay? It's a beautiful time. And not everyone gets the lack of confusion with the Pisces energy. I think there's a lot of distortion right now. I just don't see Gemini as being one of the ones who feels that. So Gemini, animal spirit, what else do you need to know here? We have watch your words. And as a sign of communication, you know how powerful words can be. You know how creating words can be, right? Words create, words make, words freeze thoughts. And we know that thoughts create realities. So you have to be very careful about how you speak. Speak only into existence what you want. Do not feed what you do not want. Do not think about what you do not want. I know that's really hard. I know we're all human beings and we're not perfect, manifestation machines, but it's time to operate with that awareness. And I see that awareness coming through very strong in that first row. Okay, and finally with the moon cards, we have nothing will come of this situation. When this card comes out, it basically just tells me that everything is so malleable right now. Okay, and that there is literally an infinite number of possibilities. So I think nothing will come of this situation, specifically the Five of Wands, because you will not have it, right? Because you will not engage and indulge in the chaos of the Five of Wands. You actually use and leverage the Five of Wands to fight for what you want. Now, this does not mean you will not see results. You will, clearly. Ace of Coins, Ace of Cups, we've got all the aces. So there will be something that comes of this situation. It's just, you can't fight to win here. This is not about winning. This is the situation you're probably currently in right now. You cannot fight to win. There is no winner. It is a useless form of energy drain. So you have to exit that almost immediately. I don't like the mirroring that's going on here either. So you have to be very cognizant of the relations that you make, right? The relative associations, like I am this and you are that, and I'm going to compare us to. There's a lot of comparison that happens. I really don't think you should be doing anything like that. This is an opportunity for Gemini to be so unique and so out of the box and so different and so innovative that you leave everything in the dust. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and pull out the clarifiers. So for those of you who are new to the channel, I'm going to pull out 30 new cards, which is quite a bit. So we're going to pull these cards out and we're going to talk about these in the comprehensive reading. So if you would like to join me, all that information is in the description box and the comment thread down below. So let's see what comes through for you, Gemini, starting with the Five of Wands. Seven of Cups, the Moon, and the Ace of Coins. Eight of Wands, we have the Two of Swords, Four of Cups, and another Queen of Cups. I love her. She's very soft in this reading. Page of Wands, Judgment, and I feel like this one, another Ace of Cups. Ace of Swords, another Five of Wands, another Ace of Swords. I'm going to pull out two more since we got a repeat. Four of Wands, Tower. It's the clarity. Seven of Swords, Six of Wands, and Nine of Cups. High Priestess, the Fool, Queen of Coins, Chariot, Two of Coins, Two of Cups, Three of Cups, Four of Wands, Three of Coins, Nine of Wands, the Sun, and Page of Coins. Last but not least, for the Ace of Cups, we have the Six of Coins, the Five of Coins, and Temperance. All right, beautiful Gemini, this is where we're going to pick up. So if you want to join, you are more than welcome. Thank you all so much. I truly hope you have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon.